All right, good evening. I'd like to call to order the Lakewood Reinvestment Authority meeting on December 19th, 2022 in the city of Lakewood, Colorado at 7:05 p.m. For those joining via telephone, the number is 720-707-2699. The webinar ID of 836-2082-8098. You'll press pound twice. That's the same number also for those joining via Zoom, 836-2082-8098. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Paul.
Here.
Abel.
Here.
Barraway.
2082-8098. You'll press pound twice. That's the same number also for those joining via Zoom, 836-2082-8098. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Paul.
Here.
Abel.
Here.
Barraway.
Here.
Can we just make sure that everyone has their computers not streaming the meeting, I guess? Otherwise, we'll have to disconnect and reconnect. Okay, I'll keep going. Where was I? Was I Frank's?
Here.
Jansen.
Here.
Kerr.
Here.
Mayock Guerrero.
Here.
Miller. I don't believe she's on the call yet. Over.
Here.
Sharazai.
Here.
Springsteen. Stewart.
Here.
Strom.
Here.
Vincent. Thank you.
Here.
And Wolfram. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Wolfram won't be joining us tonight. Chairman Paul, you have a quorum.
Great. And just to note, did we get Commissioner Kerr?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We see you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. I'll now ask the clerk to please read in item 4.
Well, there's a consent agenda item as well. Item 3, do you want me to read that in? It's just last LRA meeting minutes.
Oh, certainly. I have 2 item 4, so that would be item 3. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item 3, consent agenda, minutes of the LRA board meeting from October 17th, 2022.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, Commissioner Vincent, can you make a motion?
Certainly. Chairman Paul, I move for the approval of the Lakewood Reinvestment Authority minutes of which are included in the consent agenda items introduced into the record by the LRA clerk.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Please cast your votes. Please lay them up as we have a few more folks that I got to try to figure out our numbers with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ayes and 0 nays. Thank you. So, clerk, please read item 4.
Item 4, Resolution LRA 2022-05, approval of the First Amendment to the 2005 agreement between the LRA and the Alameda Corridor Business Improvement District, reflecting a corrected termination date of the agreement.
Okay, I'll open the public input portion of this. Anybody wish to speak to item 4? Okay, seeing none. Commissioner, I'll ask for a motion. Looks like our LRA director, Mr. Smith, is here to give a brief update. Do you want to do that before the motion?
Yes, I'm happy to do that, just to kind of iterate what's going on with this particular contract. With the LRA 2022-5 is asking for the approval of the First Amendment to the 2005 contract with the Alameda Corridor Business Improvement District, known as the Alameda BID. Essentially, the ending date approved in 2005 was more or less an error. It shouldn't have been December 31st, 2022. Should have been at the end of 2023 to align with the ending of the 25-year increment period for the Urban Renewal Authority. The bids efforts are aligned with the LRA's mission. So the decision was made by the city and the LRA back in 2005 to financially underwrite the bids efforts on an annual basis. And so the calculation you see in the original contract is made on the bid millage that would be paid by government-owned properties if the government were not tax exempt. And so that's how we determined the amount of the ongoing subsidy or assistance there. The parcel numbers in the original contract are pins for government-owned properties. For example, the parcel number ending in 04-025 is City Hall. And so the payments total about $80,000 a year, at least for the last few years. All of the other elements of the contract remain exactly the same. Some of the things the bid does include artwork along the corridor, installing that, maintaining that, leading the charge on maintaining the Alameda streetscape projects, and then safety grants associated with what we call CEPTED assessments for businesses. CEPTED is an acronym that stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. So businesses get an assessment from our police department, and usually they have some recommendations, and the bid puts together grants that allow those businesses to incorporate those things in there. So their mission very much in alignment with the LRA's mission to mitigate blight. So if we are to approve this First Amendment tonight, we would implement this contract for one more year, just as was intended back in 2005. Be happy to answer any questions the commission might have at this time.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Smith? Okay, seeing none. Commissioner Vincent.
Sure. Chairman Paul, I move for the adoption of Resolution LRA 2022-5.
Second.
Okay, motion is second on 222-05. No more discussion. Please cast your votes. Thanks, Commissioner. So it looks like there's 12 aye, 0 nay. Okay. Please read item 5.
Item 5, Resolution LRA 2022-06, approval of the transfer and dedication of ownership of the Evertree sculpture from the LRA to the City of Lakewood.
Okay, I'll open the public input piece on this. Nobody has wished to engage. Mr. Smith, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate that. Essentially, LRA 2022-6 is asking for the approval to donate the sculpture known as the Evertree to the City of Lakewood. The sculpture is located on the West Colfax Sculpture Walk, which is on the southwest corner of Colfax and Wadsworth. The maintenance of the park is being handled by the West Colfax Lakewood Business Improvement District, or the Colfax BID. The sculpture itself requires some additional maintenance that is best provided by the city's Department of Community Resources. As a memory jogger for folks, the LRA Board of Commissioners committed $85,000 in funds for the completion of the West Colfax Sculpture Walk with LRA Resolution 2022-3 back in March of this year. With the approval of this resolution, the sculpture will be maintained by the city into the future. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, could I have a motion, please?
Chairman Paul, I move for the adoption of Resolution LRA 2022-6.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Please cast your votes. All right. It's 12 aye and 0 nay. I want to, again, just take a quick moment. Mr. Smith, I have a question. Normally we would have general business, but we don't have general business on this docket. There's been some questions as we've had different discussions about potentially looking at other areas for the LRA or for expansion. Is that something that will be discussed in 2023?
Yes, very likely that will be the case in 2023. I'd like to thank all of the commissioners, including our four that were added on in August of this year, for all of the efforts this year. We were able to approve 5 items altogether in terms of minutes and that sort of thing this year. The goal was to get kind of folks together, get an understanding of what the LRA does and doesn't do, and how we can use that tool to improve things in the future. So in 2023, it's likely that we would look at least one new urban renewal project area. There may be a few project areas that we take a look at adding into the fold. The commission will also be taking a look at budget exceptions that aren't in the 2023 approved budget for additional blight mitigation efforts throughout the year. So we'll get together on a regular basis. Hopefully that'll be more like a bi-monthly or quarterly basis and be a little bit more predictable in 2023. But that question that you just brought up and more will be before this commission in the next year.
Great. And when you look at these, is this a year process, 2-year process? Do you know typically how long these processes take?
It can be any number of months or weeks on there. They can go very lickety split. Usually that's a 4-month process is kind of the government greased lightning sort of around on that. It requires a blight or condition survey and then a report from a third party independent body as to the 11 characteristics of blight that we've talked so much about in the past. They would bring that theoretically to the council. The council may make a designation of blight for the purposes of urban renewal to be conflated with our 1427 blight designations. It's a completely different process. If that were to happen, the council would then also approve a urban renewal plan for that area. And with those 2 approvals, we would then move that plan into the implementation phase, and this commission would then be part of that implementation phase,
Right.
Adding the budget to the process and figuring out exactly how we block and tackle to take on that problem.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. Thank you for that overview. And again, thank you to our folks who joined us this year. We appreciate your service. And I just got a ping from former Commissioner Jacob LeBeer, who's excited to see that we're continuing this conversation. As some of you remember, he helped start this conversation with the previous council. So with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn at 7:17. Our next meeting does say 7:30 or as soon as this one adjourns, but I know that Channel 8 needs a couple minutes to readjust. So why don't we look at trying to come back at 7:25 and move forward? So thank you, commissioners.